This is Jack Thorne from Los Angeles, back again for another installment of the Movie Sellers Month of Horrors Terrors Through Time. And I am up to the 2010s. And very excited about this one because so far in this whole thing, as some of you may know, Dan knows, my favorite horror house is A24. I just love so many of the films they do. So this is my first A24 entry that I am throwing into the ring, and it is the incredible Climax by Gaspar Noé. Now, those of you who are familiar with Gaspar Noé's work know that he is a filmmaker that he likes to tweak people's nipples, and he does a good job of it. He punishes his audiences, and it's his films are not easy to get through, but they are ultimately rewarding in the long run, but they are exhausting usually. Now, this is probably the least extreme of his films, but it's still pretty extreme. Climax is a film about a French dance troupe of 24 dancers who are spending a weekend rehearsing their dance that they're putting together. Now, this style of dancing is a combination of Vogue dancing, crumping, and other hip hop, modern, and yeah. So it's a pretty eclectic mix of dance styles and great music that is played all through. There's a little bit of Soft Cell, Tainted Love going on in the background, but the long version with Where Did Our Love Go? And there's even a Stone song in there. But anyway, great music, incredible dancing. And so it's about these 24 dancers who get together for a 3-day weekend in an abandoned school, like a boarding school. And they basically, it's in the middle of winter in 1996. And they are rehearsing, this thing for this dance for a performance. And that's what they're there doing. And they have a celebratory party at the end of the last rehearsal. And from there, things go entirely sideways. But I want to start talking about Gaspar Noé's, how he came up with this idea. Was he actually went to a voguing ballroom and he was watching the dancers, and he just got such a high off of just watching them and just being around them. He could feel the electricity from all the dancing and everything, and he loved it. He knew he wanted to do a film about it, but he wasn't sure exactly how. But he was excited to get started on it, so he started by coming up with the basic skeleton of the idea, and he got 22 dancers that had never done any acting before, and 2 dancers who had done acting before, in Sofia Boutella, who plays Selva, the choreographer, and her friend Lou, who is played by Sohila Yacoub. And there is a manager named Emmanuelle, who is a little bit older woman. She's an ex-dancer, but she's the one managing the whole thing. And then Selva is choreographing. So how they start, how he got this idea was he didn't write a script. He came up with the concept and everything in about 4 weeks, and just a loose skeleton and the vague idea of what he wanted to do. So he came up with that in about 4 weeks, and he did a lot of work with the cast in pre-production, talking about what kind of craziness or what kind of aspects they were going to bring to their character in this specific situation. And the specific situation is to be whacked out on LSD. So so everyone had to come up with their own ideas about what they wanted their character to do and say. They were given no lines. So Gaspar Noé trusted this cast to get through this film, and it only took 15 days. And the hardest thing for them to film was the opening dance, which is about 5 minutes long. But because it needed to be choreographed and they didn't have anything when they first started, so they basically improvised on the spot from take one. And just by the time they got to about the 15th take, it was good enough to be in the film. So, yeah, but it was all improvised. All of the dialogue is improvised, pretty much. Some of Sophie and some of Selva and Lou's dialogue was written, but not much else. Incredible film. Visually, anybody who has seen a Gaspar Noé film before knows that he is capable of doing amazing things visually. If you've seen films like Enter the Void or Irreversible, yeah, it's incredible. And this is kind of considered to be his most mainstream film. And Gaspar Noé laughs. He says, it's the film that I put the least work into and that I took the least amount of time to do and did the least amount of pre-planning. And that's the one that everyone compliments me for. So I guess in some cases, it's just better to go by the seat of your pants. Anyway, so we will get started with the plot. So the film opens with a drone shot over the snow. And this happens in 1996 during the winter. And a woman is crawling through the snow, leaving a little trail of blood behind her, and crying and sobbing and laughing at the same time. From that shot, we move into what starts as a series of interview snippets with all of the different dancers, and there's 24 total dancers, including Selva, the choreographer, and they all talk about what their passions are, what motivates them, and what they dance for, why they dance, and what dancing does for them. So it's a pretty interesting opening, and then it opens up on the manager Emmanuel and the choreographer Selva are running a rehearsal for an upcoming performance, and it's in this abandoned school, as I said. And the dance goes great, and they start having a party, and Emmanuel has brought sangria, which everyone starts drinking, and soon the party is in full swing. And their one member, who's this big dude named Goth Daddy, is doing the music. He's really funny. And this is a really diverse group of people, really a lot of different kind of people. So that part is cool, but they do have quite a few personal issues between them, and a lot of drama. So there's a big soap opera quality to this troupe and the relationship between them. Now, as the party goes on, people start getting a little agitated and confused, and the tone of the film goes from a very fun, convivial, wild dance party, and the dancing is amazing, but things start to take a strange turn, and this one girl, blonde girl named Psyche, actually urinates on the floor, and Selva watches her and says, "Oh, I think I'm high." So she finally begins to realize that something's going on and people are acting weird. So they all kind of come to the conclusion that the sangria has been spiked, and with a hallucinogen, obviously, probably LSD. And because Emmanuel, who has her little son Tito there with her, by the way, little 10-year-old kid, I think, or maybe even no, maybe even younger, and he's at this basically a rave, and it's crazy. I don't even know why he's there, but anyway, so Emmanuel made the sangria. So they start accusing Emmanuel that she spiked it, and she's like, no, 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 I didn't. I drank it too, and I'm just as fucked up as you are. So they figure, okay, fine. Um, Now there's another guy named Taylor who has a sister named Gazelle, and he has very Oedipal feelings towards her. Maybe not Oedipal, whatever sister would be. But so he is resentful against her boyfriend Omar, and he decides to basically accuse Omar out loud because Omar does not drink. So he doesn't have any sangria. So Taylor decides to accuse him of being the one who spiked, and they actually throw him outside and lock the door. Now, it is freezing outside. It's winter. So they lock the door on him. And that's the last we see of Omar for a while. Anyway, Emmanuel, the manager, she finds her son, Tito, drinking the sangria, and she decides to lock him inside the electrical room to protect him from the craziness of the dancers. Now, Selva is walking around, and this one guy named David, who basically has had sex with almost the entire female cast of dancers or troupe, and the one that he really, really likes is Selva. So he keeps bugging her, and she keeps trying to blow him off, but he won't leave. Sorry. Selva goes, after she blows him off, she goes to her friend Lou's room, and she's, on the bed, like, not feeling well. And she says, oh, I'm not feeling well either. And she goes, but I didn't drink. And she's like, well, what's wrong? And she goes, I'm pregnant. So they start talking about it. But next, this one girl, this shaved head girl named Dom, wearing monkey boots, basically walks in and starts accusing Lou of being the one to spike the sangria, and Lou saying, no, 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 I'm pregnant, I didn't drink, and she doesn't believe her, and she like hits her and kicks her in the stomach. And I don't know what it is. Gaspar Noé has done this in the past before. He's got something to do with pregnancy and kicking a pregnant woman in the stomach, because he's done this a couple of times in a couple of films. And it's, as I said, Gaspar Noé likes to punish his audience. So here you have the proof. Anyway, but after the whole thing with Dom kicking her in the stomach, now Lou is retching, and she's obviously fucked up. She's crying. She walks past an altercation going on between two other girls. This one girl, Alaya, is trying to get this other girl, Jennifer, to share her cocaine with her, but she won't. So she shoves her into a portable stove, and her hair catches fire, and Alaya just laughs at her. And it's like, it's the craziest moment, and just nuts. And so, anyway, Lou stumbles out onto the dance floor and walks up to Dom, the shaved head girl who kicked her in the stomach, and basically just like says, why did you do that? Why did you do that? But now the whole group, who everybody is just in the stratosphere now, and now they all turn on Lou and start accusing her of spiking the drink, because Dom is the one, who got that started. And so she gets so freaked out. She takes a knife and she starts trying to like slash at them to get them away from her because they're like taunting her and like trying to close in on her. And she starts having like a breakdown and she starts punching herself in the stomach and slashing herself. She slashes her face and her arms with a knife. And the group is just laughing at her, encouraging her to kill herself. And it's just unbelievably uncomfortable, horrible human moment. And it's just, you want to look for horror, go no further. Luckily, this one girl, Eva, goes up to her and starts trying to comfort her and kind of gets the others to leave her alone. So otherwise, she would have just, I think they would have killed her. Selva is hearing screams and she starts walking through the building and she's totally just completely LSD addled. And she walks and she finds Emmanuel, the mom of the kid. And now Emmanuel she got fucked up and got distracted and she lost the key to the electrical room. So her kid is trapped in the electrical room and she's saying, don't worry, I'll find the key. And so Tito is screaming inside the thing because he's flipping out because he's on the drugs too. And it's just, again, a horrible moment. And then while Emmanuel desperately searches, Selva sees Taylor, the incestuous brother, and a group of others brutally beating up David, the guy who keeps hitting on her. And, David has been talking shit about all the women all night, so in some respect, you're almost kind of not sorry to see him get his comeuppance, but it's still pretty brutal. And then, of course, all of a sudden, the power goes out and it fizzles and you realize that Tito has electrocuted himself and knocked out the electricity. So it goes now into this emergency red lighting. And the lighting from here on out, now I'm going to say another interesting point at the end of this film, but I'm going to try and make a mental note now. But so the lighting is like all of this red and green and just, it's all alternating. And it's amazing as just you do these tracking shots. Incredible. So Ivana, who has been this other blonde girl who was kind of Psyche's girlfriend, I guess, and she was like being ignored by Psyche all night. So she finds Selva and she helps her into her room, and she just goes by different people everyone's all messed up. Eva's in the shower trying to wash the blood from loose cuts off of her. They go into Ivana's room and they start having sex. David comes in and tries to drag Selva out, and she pushes him out and locks the door. David tries to go into DJ Daddy's room, who is comforting this one kid named Riley, who has been trying to pick up David all night, and David keeps blowing him off. Daddy tells David to leave. David then comes across Gazelle and Taylor starting to have sex together, the brother and the sister. And Gazelle runs off and stumbles into the central hall. And now in the central hall, at this point, everyone is writhing, dancing, writhing on the floor, having sex, beating people up. It's just all mayhem. It's like Babylon, just unleashed. And it's just incredible. And it's all in this red light, and it's just insane. And everything is just descended into absolute chaos, like pagan chaos. And Taylor catches up to his sister, Gazelle. He says he loves her and only she can make him happy. She sobs on the floor and has a seizure, and Taylor takes her off to the room, and his room, of course, and David is attacked by another dancer who slams his head against the floor, and I think kills him. Now, in the morning, the police arrive, and all of the dancers, almost all of them, are either unconscious or dead. And the only one who's left dancing is Psyche. And different people are like sobbing. Omar's frozen to death in the snow. Emmanuel has killed herself outside the electrical room because of Tito. And Gazelle wakes up next to Taylor, and Taylor tells her not to say anything to their father. And he says, nothing happened. But he said, don't say anything to their father, because I think he's obviously lying. Jennifer, the girl who got her hair caught on fire, she's trying to wash her scalp, screaming. And then Lou crawls out and is screaming in the snow and laughing and crying. And then after that, the police are continuing to search the building, and Psyche goes into her room, and you see her bag, and there's several books there on psychedelia and LSD, and she takes a dropper and drops 3 drops in her eyes, and that's the last scene. And that is the close of Climax. So it is pretty messed up. There are parts that are just horrifying, literally horrifying. And in some case, you will be repulsed. And I mean, if you're a decent person. So this film is not for the weak-hearted. Gaspar Noé is never for the weak-hearted. So this is probably the boldest choice that I've made. It is it's a master class in psychedelic horror, psychological horror, mob horror, like not technically folk horror, but the idea of a mob turning on somebody, it's incredible. And the way he films it is from the outside perspective, not the inside. So you don't go around seeing trails and stuff. You just go around seeing weird lighting and stuff, but you see these people just acting crazy and nuts and just devolving right there before your eyes. And it's incredible. The other thing of note is there's several long shots in the film. One of the opening shots with the dance in it is 12 minutes, which is pretty long. But that's nothing. Because, and this is another weird thing, is Gaspar Noé does not like doing credits at the end. So he crams the credits in, like in the middle, and he has the most wonderful way of doing titles that I've ever seen. He does the craziest titles I've ever seen. If you ever watch one of his films, watch the way he does his credit titles. It's hilarious. And the same thing is here, but he does it about almost halfway through the film. And the reason for that is because the last almost the rest of the entire film, which is 42 minutes, is one tracking shot. And it is a thing of beauty and a thing of horror and a thing of, oh my God. And I just cannot say enough about the incredible overload of music and emotion and feeling and sex and just it's very sexual and just yeah. Anyway, that's Climax by Gaspar Noé, and it didn't really do anything at the box office, but it burned up at Cannes and other various foreign film festivals, and it's gotten a reputation as his strongest film. So anyway, I love it. It's my entry for May 24 this time, so I hope you enjoy it. And once again, is it scary? Yeah, it's terrifying in some area, but in a very disturbing way. So if that type of horror, if you can get down with horror that is disturbing and unnerving and unsettling, yeah, this is awesome. Good Halloween movie? I think, yeah, because of all the color and the craziness and stuff. And yeah, it is a good Halloween movie, I think, actually. Uh, anyway, I give it, I mean, as far as what it's trying to do, I mean, I would almost give it a 10, but I'll give it a 9, just because I mean, it's not, the acting is not flawless. Sophie Butella and Sohail Yaqub are both wonderful, and everybody does a great job considering that they're not actors. But there are some places where it does feel a little, maybe not entirely real, the interaction between them. But anyway, but that's, like I said, there's a small note. Everything else, the visuals are incredible. The sound is incredible. The music's incredible. And the way it's done, and that 42-minute tracking shot is just mind blowing. Anyway, that's it. Hope all you are doing well and continuing to have a great month. That's it for me, Jack Thorne in Los Angeles, for the Movie Cellar. House Month of Horrors, Terrors Through Time. Thanks. Take care, guys. Bye.